bargain Star Trek Blu-rays last week? Well, we found out why they were so cheap. A viewer named Joe wrote in, the Star Trek Blu-rays Best Buy are selling for $10 are the old theatrical versions. They're not the new ones that were released on 2-disc SD collector's editions a few years ago. Paramount is well known for double, triple, or more dipping, so I have to assume the collector's director's editions are coming soon. On top of that, only Wrath of Khan was properly remastered for Blu-ray. Ooh, all the others were upconverted. I'll wait for the proper update of these movies on Blu-ray. Signed, Joe. God! Thanks for the heads up on that, Joe, and my apologies to the Trekkers in the audience. Let's get some top 5 on.
Robert Downey Jr.'s role in the summer blockbuster Iron Man 2 is certainly cementing his status as a AAA-list Hollywood celebrity. It's pulled over $300 million in 5 days at the box office. His most awesome Iron Man and action-packed take on the Sherlock Holmes, the Sherlock Holmes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Anyhow, those two have already done over $1 billion worldwide together. We want to show Robert Downey Jr. a little more love this week with our top 5 Robert Downey Jr. movies in HD. Sure, his work in Stephen Chambers' biopic of Diane Arbus' Fur, awesome flick. A little twisted, but awesome. Will probably take forever to make it to Blu-ray, not to mention The Singing Detective, the movie that relaunched his career after he A, finally got sober this last time, and B, Mel Gibson put up the insurance bond so he could actually get in the flick because nobody would insure him. In any case, let's talk about what's out there on Blu-ray. 1, The Soloist, based on the true story of LA Times columnist Steve Lopez's discovery of a schizophrenic cello prodigy, Nathaniel Ayres. The Soloist chronicles Lopez's columns on Ayres while exposing him to the plight of the mentally ill forced to live on the streets of LA. Although not warmly received in the box office, Downey Jr. does a tremendous job of portraying Lopez as a man overwhelmed with the complex issues surrounding mental illness. Paired together with the accomplished Jamie Foxx, dude is a monster actor as Nathaniel Ayres, The Soloist is a great example of Downey's acting skill and talent. 2, Tropic Thunder. I think it's hysterical. Our producer Roger said this Ben Stiller setup of the brooding war movie genre falls flat on its face. Okay, Ben Stiller was awful, I'll agree on that. But Robert Downey Jr. was bizarre and peculiar and epic. He's playing an Australian method actor who surgically turns himself into an African American. It's surreal and it's incredibly funny, playing off the character's innate comedic awkwardness. With various African American pop culture references and civil rights slogans, Downey effortlessly makes what could have been an absolute train wreck of a role into a memorable, likable character that ended up being the only reason to watch this movie. Okay, I'll buy into that. Oh, I will say Jack Black was pretty funny too. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Robert Downey plays a small-time criminal pretending to be a New York actor learning the private investigator thing, played by a rather understated Val Kilmer, or at least understated for a gay PI in LA who tends to carry guns given to him by his mother. In any case, it's a Chandler-style detective story with a lot of clever humor. If you don't like the back and forth between Kilmer and Downey early on in the movie, you might want to move on to the next flick in your stack. Sherlock Holmes. You ever notice how amazing hand-to-hand combat can look in HD? You will after watching Guy Ritchie's take on Sherlock Holmes. This Blu-ray really makes the spectacular set pieces and the costuming work shine too. It is visually stunning, no matter what you think of the particular interpretation on Sherlock Holmes. Iron Man. Awesome. From the opening demo of the Jericho missile system to the closing press conference, this is a really fun movie. Sure, the closing battle doesn't make a lot of sense and the intricately plotted, well, the plot kind of falls apart 2/3 of the way through the movie, but damn, this is a gorgeous flick. We want Tony Stark's house, his toys, and by the way, there is some great acting talent in this movie. 2 girls and a guy. Probably never been seen by anybody out there except for like 5 of us who studied film. It was written in 4 days and filmed in just 11 days in 1997 by James Toback. This is pure writing and acting. It's mostly just Robert Downey Jr., Heather Graham, and Natasha Gregson Wagner in a single room in Lower Manhattan. 2 Guys and a Girl was the last flick Downey filmed before going to jail. A lot of exploration of relationships, cheating, and love. Critics are divided on this one, but there's an extraordinary scene where Downey confronts himself in a mirror. It's worth watching. 2 flicks we can't believe aren't out in HD yet. Chaplin. Ebert dinged this flick for spending too much time on Chaplin's sex life and almost no time on Chaplin's movies and what made them great. It's a fair call, but he did take pains to point out that Robert Downey Jr. succeeds almost uncannily. This is a quote, by the way. The physical resemblance is convincing, but better is the way Downey captures Chaplin's spirit even in costume as the tramp. It's true. It is a monster piece of acting. I can only wish the plot was as lovingly crafted as the sets and costumes, which would sing in HD. Finally, to end off our list, Less Than Zero, an ugly little time capsule of 80s success amongst LA's glittering youth, or I should say drug-fueled youth. Less Than Zero predates Downey's very public battles with addiction. An HD edition would really bring out Downey's spectacularly nuanced facial work. There's a lot of skill going on in that face for somebody so young. Not to mention Andrew McCarthy and the rest of the cast. And I gotta say, Downey's work, people say, this movie led him to drugs. No way. This movie was him opening up about how he felt about his existing, probably, addiction issues. Good stuff. I want to see it on Blu-ray. So does Heron. So does Roger. Who knows who else out there does?
I want Weird Science on Blu-ray.
Ooh.
Where's that? I mean, granted, it's not a starring role for him, but he did play one of the heavies in the movie, one of the cool kids, kind of going up against Michael Anthony Hall's character. But
I haven't thought about
that movie. Made me laugh a
forever.
lot as a teenager. But
It's a funny flick.
Yeah, not as so. For nowadays, I have to say The Hangover gets me giggling like nothing else. But when I was a teenager, man, Weird Science, good stuff.
HD Nation.